Hi guys, and welcome to another GMAT Club video. My name is Selvi, and today we have Rishi, who got an MIM admit at two amazing business schools, ESSEC and HEC. I'm delighted to have him here. Thank you so much, Rishi, for joining us, and please do introduce yourself.
Hi, Selvi. Thank you so much for having me over here. It feels surreal that going through the GMAT Club forum, using it for daily preparation, and then be able to contribute over here. This feels nice. So a bit about me. As Selvi told me, told that my name is Rishi. I recently got an admit from ESSEC and HEC. Both are situated in Paris, both for the MIM program, and this has been around a 6-month journey that I have been starting from for GMAT focus to finally getting an admit. I come from an engineering background, and yeah, I think further we'll discuss as the discussion goes on.
Awesome. So you said you have an engineering background. So when did you graduate?
Yeah, so I completed my computer science engineering in 2022 from BITS Pilani. After that I gained a couple of years of work experience at a software company in Bangalore. And after that, I moved to my family business. So around two years of work experience in total.
Understood, understood. And this is 2 years. And then when did you plan on taking the GMAT?
Yeah. So I was clear that I wanted to pursue a degree in masters. Not I was not sure about MBA and MIM. So the thought occurred to me during my time in Bangalore when I was working as a software developer. Uh, so I planned to give my GMAT, but I couldn't for some reason. So I scheduled it when I came back. I started my preparations back in March 2023, and in a couple of months, in June, I got my target GMAT score that I was aiming for. I had to appear for GMAT Focus twice in
Okay,
May.
and what was your score, if you don't mind telling us?
Yeah. So my first score was 615. This is in GMAT Focus score, and the second one was 645. Though I was not completely satisfied with the final score, but then I thought that let's settle on that, and now let's work on the application part because that also has a good weightage.
Understood. I think I didn't ask this. I should have asked this maybe in the beginning, but why MIM? Why not
Yeah.
MBA? You clearly had 2 years of work ex. You could have worked, another 1 or 2 more years and then decided to go for the MBA. Like, what was the reason for you?
Before answering this question, this exact question is the same question that every MIM interview will have. Like, why do you want to go for an MIM and not an MBA? So yeah, this is a very basic question that everyone will ask. And so for me, I was very sure that I wanted to pursue a degree in a master's in business, whether it is an
Mhm.
MBA or MIM, whichever course. So my inclination was very region specific. I wanted to see the European business schools because of late there has been a huge surge of the number of high ranked schools that Europe has been producing. And so my inclination was towards Europe. And with the scenario that I was in, I had 2 years of work experience, which is not sufficient for an MBA. You
Yeah.
need to have at least 3 years to be eligible for certain schools. And MIM was one option that I had. And even in MIM, there was this scenario where you have to have less than 2 years of work experience in a lot of business schools, such as London Business School. So I was in such in a in a middle situation where I don't have both my legs on both the boats. So it was a tricky situation to be in. But then I researched and I found that there are schools which don't have a very strict policy with respect to when did you complete your undergrad and how many years of work experience do you have. So
Mhm.
that is when I cleared my mindset that that MIM is the degree that I want to pursue, and Europe is the region that I want to pursue the degree at.
Understood, understood. And regarding like back, I'm just gonna go back to your academics because we did discuss
Yeah.
the GMAT. I think another crucial aspect is your undergrad, like GPA that you got. So was that good according to your profile? That's something you
Yeah.
can't fix, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Again, so I focused on the controllable. So once I was after 2022, there was nothing that I could do to change the GPA. I had a GPA of 7.5 from BITS Pilani. So the thing which favored me was my undergraduate school, which has a high reputation in India. And so whichever school I applied to during the interviews as well, they all recognized that, I'm coming from a good institute from India. And after that, this GPA, so with respect to the GPA, it is a median GPA in our school. And yeah, when you put it across the schools in India, it doesn't stand at the average. But my profile, the school name, the GMAT, everything was trying to push it, was trying to average that out for me.
Mm.
So obviously not the best case to be in, but again, this entire journey, you get a lot of opportunities to improve your odds at getting an admit. So my
Correct.
aim was that whatever controllables that I have, I'll focus on that, whether it is GMAT, whether it is my application or story. So to focus on that and to improve my chances.
No, that's a good thing you did, because a lot of people don't understand, like, especially the point you mentioned where you had to check if your school is like ranked well, like for
Yeah,
these international business schools. And if it's not, then you have to consider that no matter how good of a GPA you've got, maybe you should focus on things like the GMAT or the GRE, which will at least give you a leverage among other
exactly.
applicants. Yeah. So you
Exactly.
thought that 645 is a good score compared to your profile, and that's where you were like, okay, done. Now let's move on to the
Yeah.
next step.
Yeah. I was like during my mocks, I was getting I in a couple of attempts, I got a good score, a better score than 645. But then, there is no end to this. The more you work hard, the better scores you'll get. But there is this decision that you have to take, that whichever school that you're applying to, what is your chances over there? What scores do you
Mhm.
plan to apply to that particular school? And I think that I was in the average case scenario, I can apply with this score. So I decided to, let's move to the application part, let's move forward, because GMAT has this one thing that when the student appears for it, it creates this mental blockage that you have to get past that, because you'll get stuck in this loop
Mhm.
of reattempts. So
That's
once I done with the score, so I decided to move forward.
good. Okay. And after you were done with the GMAT, what were your next steps? Did you start looking? So, did you already shortlist your business schools? Did you start your research then? Did you also look into consultants and thought of, taking help from, for your application? Like, what were your next steps like?
Yeah. So exactly these two steps were there. So one was figuring out how to go about my essays. Uh, because as I was going through online, through forums, through Reddit, to read about how can I improve my chances, everyone was suggesting, some or the other consultant for essays. And the
Mm-hmm.
other thing was to shortlist my schools, because now once the score is done, you have to send out your scores. You get free 5 attempts. So two of them was fixed, and I finalized the five list, which was Imperial. um the second one was INSEAD, HEC, ESSEC, and one is ISB Hyderabad. So these were the
Okay.
5 schools that I planned to apply, and I sent my scores to these schools. And after that, I did use one of the consultants for, or in fact, took help from them for my essays and my application overall, which I think we'll discuss further about that.
Yeah, for sure. And regarding like the schools that you chose, typically what is recommended is, you should have like your dream schools, then like ones that like you think you can get in, but you're not sure,
Safe
and then
schools.
like your secret schools, correct? So was that the
Yeah.
same order that you did it in?
No, no, no. The order was HEC, INSEAD, and ISB were the dream schools to get
Mm-hmm.
into, and ESSEC and Imperial were the safe schools. So that because you have to focus on the degree that I'm applying. So once we go through the rankings, whether it is the FT rankings or the QS rankings, uh, everywhere HEC and INSEAD are ranked among the top two. Not only in Europe but in the entire world for MIM program. So
Correct.
they eventually become the obvious choice. But because when I was going through the HEC application journey, connecting with seniors, so they all were saying that it's a tough school to get into, and I was on the verge of self-rejecting myself. Which again, this is a suggestion from my side: don't self-reject yourself from any application, any school, because you don't know what the admission jury actually wants. So there are
No.
students with a higher score not getting selected, but students with a 615, you can see them being selected. So the first thing is don't self-reject, be confident and have confidence on yourself. So yeah, these were the five schools that I selected, and there was the one consultant that I took help from for my essays and the application journey.
Understood. There are actually, I mean, I applied for MIM long back ago. So I kind of, now I'm recapping what has happened with my application process. But I did apply to like some really good ranked schools, like London Business School is there, and UK and Ireland, they also have really great schools. Like there are a lot of other good ranking schools in Europe. So
Yeah.
what was your reason to choose these five and not those ones? There must have been
Yeah. So
some reason.
exactly. London Business School was an obvious choice for anyone applying to Europe, UK, anywhere. The only thing was that I had sent my first score when I attempted the GMAT for the first time. I sent my score to LBS, but then I found out that they don't accept students who have graduated uh, before 2023. So for in my case, for the class of 2020, starting batch of 2025, they won't accept students from 2023, like earlier from 2023 who graduated. So that I got a sort of a soft rejection from them. I was in touch with their admission jury, so that is one case. And then London School of London LSE. Uh, this was another school that I wanted to get an admit from, but again, I when I spoke around, they told me that they have a high weightage on your undergraduate GPA,
Mm,
which I thought that doesn't make sense because everyone who has gotten an admit or has applied, they all suggested me to leave LSE aside and focus on other schools. So
mm,
after these two, I think HEC, INSEAD, these are the top schools to apply for in any case. And in fact, ESSEC also, ESSEC, these are all the schools that you should apply to. Like if you have the same thinking as me, but again, all schools are good in some or the other way, and can if it suits your case, then I think nothing like that.
that's true. I'll definitely come back to maybe like the particular schools you chose.
Yeah,
Because there are a lot of other factors. It's not just the ranking and it's a great school. Like you're going to Europe, there's definitely going to be a
yeah,
language barrier. So you have to consider
exactly.
a lot of other factors. But yeah, before we jump into that, let's go back to the application process. So done with the GMAT, then you said you started working on your essays and resume. So what was the process like for that?
Yeah. So I took help from one of the consultants where so my one line review will be that or at the end all the hard work has to be done by the candidate. Any consultant that you take will only tell you the framework and the guidelines. Rest the story, your journey, everything remains your personal. It has to have a personal touch because right now the admission jury is very quick to catch whether it is your journey or it is a crafted journey. So this is a one-line review of all the consultants. That if you want to take help, you should. Even I did, but at the end, it should have that personal touch. So from there, I started my application journey. I took help. Uh, I sought out for guidelines as to which school looks out for which possible candidate. So this is the first thing that I did. I researched about each school that I'm applying to. What are my chances, because being a Indian engineer and a male, it puts you in a very niche percentage of the class size. So you have to have a very a promising a candidature to get accepted in these schools if you fall into this category, which a majority of us will be there,
Mhm.
engineering males. So I crafted my story about how I completed my engineering, did my job, and now I'm moving into my family business, and how my family business is relevant to my degree. This was, I think, one of the pieces of information that the jury also like because my all of my interviews was directed towards this. So it is very important to craft your essays, your SOPs, your LORs in such a way so that you are in the driving seat whenever you get an interview call. You should know that you are telling whatever you are telling. Just be mentally prepared that they'll grill you on this, that they'll ask you questions on this. So you have to be honest. And that is
Yeah.
the only thing that I kept in mind, that be honest, write whatever you feel that, is the truth. And you can honestly, without being, without even blinking an eye, you can answer any question which is asked on that.
That's true. I mean, no matter how much you lie, the lie will come out in the end, even if it's not in
Exactly,
the
exactly.
it will come out later. So,
Yeah,
better to be honest and truthful, and that's how you'll feel confident with your
yeah,
answers. But then in the essays, you mentioned that that was your narrative, right? That you went from an engineer to then being going to your family business. But can you talk a bit more about the essays, like more about what you wrote? Of course, you don't have
yeah,
to tell me word by word, but just for the
exactly.
audience to maybe know how an essay should look like or should sound like.
Yeah. So everything, so this is all the essay questions that you get throughout the journey. I feel it should have a personal touch. So for me, what I did was I bifurcated all the questions in such a way that the first, let's say for example, they asked that why should we select you? So first, in the first paragraph or in the first part, you should explain about why, like about yourself, about your journey. Then you should tell them that what you can call to the college, to the school. And third,
Mhm.
that how will the school help you? So don't forget that, it's a two-way street. If you're going to the school for getting a degree, getting knowledge, it is very important that what you bring to the table, what is your contributions, how will you make the perfect fit in that class size, in that cohort. It is very important to justify that, and I made sure that in any school that I'm applying to, I should know that what are the clubs, societies, or the extracurricular um, that the school offers, that I can either help them in any way possible, contribute in any way possible. So it is very important to do your homework thoroughly, to talk to seniors. The like, I can't stress enough on this point, because I feel that one of the two admits that I got has a very big role of one of the seniors that I was in touch with. They helped me to understand, how you are a perfect fit for the school. So once you get to talk in talking with them, they help you find that particular that piece of information that you should put into your application, that will help you make your application stand out, and that actually did. So it's very
Mm,
important to craft it personally, have a very good personal touch, and yeah, that I think it's endless. It's an endless talk that can go on for each
that's
question, for each school. But in hindsight, all I'll say is be honest and have a personal touch to all your answers.
awesome. And
Don't
but the
don't obviously don't use AI. Don't use ChatGPT, because
yeah,
nowadays, yeah,
come
yeah,
to that.
all schools have that option to figure out that how much ever you plan to use a AI detector and remove all the AI detections, but they'll find out. They'll read it and they'll know that it's not you, it's someone else who's crafting your essays.
Exactly. Like I feel like even taking help from ChatGPT sometimes can be detrimental. So
Yeah.
rather just maybe stick to yourself and Grammarly if needed.
Exactly.
But
The only help that I used from ChatGPT or any AI tool was just to proofread, for any
yeah,
spelling mistakes or any grammatical mistakes. That's it. Like otherwise, keep it. The rawness of that essay also helps you. Helps the admission jury know that at the end there is a person. The student is a human being. There will be a certain kind of rawness to whatever they are saying. If it is
correct,
picture perfect, very clear, they'll know that this is not who you are.
correct. But yeah, and I definitely I think the questions that you had for each school were they completely different, or you had the leverage to sort of mold each essay that you wrote according
Yeah.
specific to the school.
I think three questions were pretty much common. One
Mm-hmm.
was why MIM, or why degree. Basically, you can just fill in the blank that, if you're applying for MBA, why MIM, why MBA. This was a very standard question. Why that particular school? This was a very standard question. So they were asking it in some or the other way, that how will you contribute to that to this cohort? So that is basically why you. Why do we
Mm-hmm.
select you? So if you prepare these three questions, keep it ready, you can use it in almost all the applications, because these remain the same. Like if you want to pursue a degree, it won't change because you want to pursue a degree in that particular college. So you can prepare a answer of why, but that particular degree, why they should select you. And then
Okay.
the third question is why that particular school. So these were the common questions. And then in some schools, there were very fascinating questions. They asked to check your creativity. Like I remember in HEC, they asked that if you are to have a dinner, host a dinner party, who will you like to invite, and how would you like to
What
curate
did
this
you
party? So yeah, so the I my answer were very, I I remember that it involves some sportsmen, some singers, and yeah, everything. I planned a proper Indian themed food party. So yeah, so
nice?
it is basically to check the creativity, and this is where I spoke to the senior, and they said that this is for creativity. Get as creative as you can in this answer. They don't want to check your your etiquettes while hosting a party. They want to see how creative you can get.
Makes sense. All right.
Yeah,
Okay, so we sort of talked about the essays. In brief, I feel like people might have more questions. And guys, if you want, feel free to comment down below. And Rishi might as well just comment back and
I
reply.
will for sure.
And yeah, while if you're watching, just like and subscribe to our channel. It definitely helps us help you. And let this video reach out to more MIM aspirants. But let's now go to the rest of the application. Was the resume something that you had a difficulty with? I mean, it's quite substandard. There's a standard template and whatnot. But was there anything that you were struggling? Maybe like, okay, I had maybe less things to mention, or I have to sort of learn new skills or have a certificate from this in the school to like make my resume look better. Like, what was your uh,
Yeah,
experience there?
I clearly remember I had resume underscore draft one till resume underscore draft 10. So they were like there were so many back and forth for one resume. I clearly remember like first putting something, then contemplating whether this will go well with one particular school or not. So at the end, instead of having five different resumes for five different schools, and I removed everything. I prepared one resume, which was 100% honest. uh, had everything that I have done. I had to do, I think, two more certifications in order to better my resume. So
Mhm,
I instantly did, to be honest, I instantly did two more certifications and added that. But apart from that, having different resumes for different schools doesn't make sense, at least with my perspective. But having different resume for different programs does make sense. So there are
mhm,
masters in business analytics, masters in management, which is I applied for, and there are a couple of other masters that you can apply to. So make sure that your resume is program specific and not school specific. It should
mhm,
highlight
mhm.
why you should be selected for that particular program. So my
Understood.
journey was my for resume journey was pretty much this. I remember it took 3 weeks for me to finalize one resume. So yeah, it was a very intense back and forth session with my consultant.
Yeah, it seems like it's the easiest thing, but honestly, it's not. Like even
It's not
structuring words the correct way, quantifying things, like
even
it
the
takes.
font, everything
And sometimes people, I think, have an issue having everything fit into one page.
one page. Yes,
Yeah, so you
yes,
have to be careful with what you select and how you put. But was there anything
exactly.
in your resume that you felt like, okay, I kind of have leverage over other students because I have this thing, standing
Yeah.
out?
Uh, when we talk about MIM, so I think WorkX, this was one of the things that I was above average in. In general, when you go through the class size, you see the class dynamics in any school's website. You'll see that average work experience is 0 to 1 years, wherein I was closing in on near to 2 years. So I think this was something which might have worked in my favor. I don't know, but yeah, I
Mm,
think this is something I highlighted very nicely, that what work I have done. And so the most important is the impact that I have brought in any organization that I've worked. So
mm,
I went with the STAR method, which is a well-known method for resume building, and I emphasized very clearly on the impact or the quantifiable impact that I had. Again, this
mhm,
is very it depends person to person how you curate. There are 10 different ways on the internet where you can go around and make your resume. But At the end, it's about you, what you want to select and what you want to present to the jury.
The LOR, that must have been, I think, the last bit in your whole application process, was it not?
Actually, I started early with the LOR as soon as I
Oh,
was done with my GMAT. So LOR is something that you have to, consistently be behind your professors, your previous managers or your bosses that, you have to please give us a LOR. So this is something that you start early so that once you reach that stage in your application, you have that ready. So I
mm,
remember I emailed all my professors, and most of them are, very busy. So a couple of them replied, and I had to be behind them, be persuasive enough to make them write a LOR and then get it. In majority of the schools, you'll be required to submit one academic LOR and one professional LOR. But in the case of INSEAD, they expected two professional LORs, which was tricky because you know in general they don't a student does a MIM student doesn't have so much experience that they can get two work LORs. But then somehow I got one from my family business and one from my previous employer. So
mm,
yeah, so you have to. I think LOR is purely persuasion. How persuasive you can be, how much you can text or email your professors or your previous employers, your bosses to give you the LOR. That's it. And you can just. I think it's being honest that they just want to see that the story that you are telling and the story that your employer is telling, whether that matches or not. So
right.
this is what I got to know from consultants, from seniors, and
Mm,
from my own experience. I think after getting an admit, I can confidently say that this is the case that they do only check if the story is falling in the correct place or not.
understood. There was
Unlike
no
MBA.
exactly. But there was no requirement of an academic LOR, right? You could have
Yeah,
given
there
just
was
two.
one. So one
There was.
academic and one professional in four schools. And in
Mhm.
INSEAD, I clearly remember they asked for two professional LORs.
Oh, okay, understood. And you said that you got one LOR from family business. I feel like a lot
Yeah.
of students would wonder how that works and if you are allowed to give an LOR when you're in it. Because who would you typically take it from? I guess your parents or siblings that you work with. So who was it for you?
Exactly. This was one question which bugged me a lot. That whom do I get that LOR from? And there was one. I remember there was one webinar hosted, and over there was one representative from INSEAD where they
Mm,
clearly mentioned that you can get it from your parents or whoever your family member is, but the higher impact will be with the person that you have worked with. So for me, I worked with a third party company
mm,
where I worked with them for about 4 months. And
mm,
so the CEO of that company wrote me an a letter of recommendation, which I then further used it in the case of INSEAD. So I think it's better to keep it third party also, like to keep your LOR for family business also third party. I'll suggest that don't, just simply get it written from your parents. That
yeah.
won't add much value. You will
That's true.
get one check, but that won't add much value.
That's true.
So
That's true. I completely agree. It's like if people, then the admissions officer will see it more of as this could be a lie,
mm,
or it was just a love from a parent. They might write anything
yeah,
because of course it's their
yeah,
child. Like it could be the most
exactly,
incompetent, like like child, and the parent will still be like, amazing. Like that this person's
exactly,
amazing.
exactly.
Does amazing work. So no, completely agree. That was a good point. Okay. So we discussed the essays, the resume, the LOR. Was there anything else left in your application that you had to tackle?
Uh, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I think after LORs were done, you were done with your essays, your resume. Uh, you just had to keep your fingers crossed for an interview call. That's it.
Did you apply right before the deadlines, or you were close to the deadline time?
So my application journey started when it started, there were no applications open. Yeah, every like all the websites told that applications will soon be open. So I was in a
Mhm.
very good state where I did not need to panic that the deadline is approaching. I had everything in place. I had my LORs in place. I had my resume in place. Only the essays were pending because the essay questions will be released once the application opens. So
Mm-hmm.
I was well within my timeline. I had chalked out everything, but I didn't submit it, didn't submit my applications, beforehand because it's, I think most of the schools that I applied to were not on a rolling fashion. They all accepted all the applications. They considered all the applications once the deadline was, over, and once the round one applications were done. So
Mm-hmm.
I was not a bit worried about missing the timeline, missing the deadline, or something like that. But
Okay.
yeah, all was done within the deadline.
Awesome. And in the end, which schools did you get an interview invite from?
Yeah, I got the interview invite from both the schools that I got the admit from. It is ESSEC and HEC. Yeah,
Mm,
so for Imperial was the first school to release the results, and I didn't make the cut. After that, for INSEAD, the not getting an admit from INSEAD was something, that really gave me a setback, gave me a reality check, and this is something which this application journey will teach you a lot. That it will keep humbling you across the timeline. You will be, you can be the topper at your undergraduate school. You can be anything, but you will
sometimes
have to.
you're not good enough.
Sorry.
Sometimes you're just not good enough, and that hurts.
Yeah, you don't make the cut. So you have to take that, pill, and you have to swallow that pill. But yeah, so this was one. Imperial, I got a rejection from. Then I got a interview call from ESSEC. Then I got a rejection from INSEAD. Then I got an interview call from HEC, and then finally I got a rejection from ISP. So
Mm.
yeah, these two, and both the interviews were very back to back.
Understood. I should take back my comment by saying sometimes you're not good enough. I feel like everyone's great. It's just that schools have, I think, their own priorities, especially every year they decide, okay, what kind of class do they want? So sometimes they're just
Exactly.
looking for something else, and maybe you're just not the right fit for that particular year.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah. Even
we
I.
have.
Yeah, even I agree to this, that you will be fit in some or the other cohort in some school, but you have to have that belief that if not, if you don't get into one school, that there is one school out there that perfectly aligns with your ideology.
Correct. And how did you prep for the interviews? Did you prepare way beforehand, or was it more of like, okay, let it just happen, and I'll talk the way I usually talk? Because that's what I did.
Ah, yeah, so this is what I had in mind, that I'll go with this attitude that it will be a conversation, casual conversation. But as soon as the interview date approaches, you tend to prepare, then you tend to over prepare. So there's this a very there's this line between preparing and over preparing. And so what I did in my first interview, which was of HEC, I contacted a lot of seniors who are already studying there in the same program. And I think that is the best decision that I took. Instead of just writing out answers to generic questions, it is very
Mhm.
important to understand what does it take to be a selected student. And
Correct.
that perspective you can get only from an admitted student. So I spoke to them. I spoke about what extracurriculars are there, how I can be a perfect fit. They understood my profile. They gave me certain tips. So yeah, I think it's pretty much that. And after that, I feel post that, once you are done, once you set your foot in that virtual room, that interview room, it is everything fades away. So what remains with you is whatever you have heard, whatever preparation you have done. After that, it is purely a conversation. So everyone told me that it will be a very casual conversation, but you tend to over prepare. But once the interview starts, you have to get into that conversation mode, because they all the interviewers, all the panelists out there will be looking for a conversation. That's it. They won't be interviewing you, or they won't be grilling you. It will
Mhm.
be a occasion to understand you, from where do you come from, and how you can be a part of this particular school. That's pretty much it.
Mhm. Did you fumble anywhere when you were giving your interview? Like you were like, "Oh God, what did I just say?" Or "What should I
So
say?"
yeah, yeah, yeah. So there are a couple of instances where I ask the jury to, give me a couple of minutes to think about. This is something that I got a tip from, that be very open to ask the jury to take some time, because instead of just rambling something, saying some random answers, it is very important to take time, accumulate your thoughts, and then put it out nicely. It is
Mm.
advisable from it was advice that I got from a lot of seniors. So I implemented it, and I think they liked it.
Okay, of course. Well, they gave you an admin, both of them, in fact. So I think you did
Yeah.
a pretty good job. And you got
In,
admissions directors in your interview, or with their students?
so interviews specifically, this was something which I was very confident about, because throughout my undergraduate journey as well, I have been taking leadership roles. I have been active in communication and in my school and my undergraduate school
Mhm.
both. So I was looking forward for interviews, because this is something that I thought that might be a strong suit for me, if not my GP, undergrad GP or anything.
Right.
Um, so the only thing that they look for during asking you questions, giving you situational questions, is your awareness, that how aware you are about what you are saying, and how confident you are. Even if, let's say, I don't know an answer, if I'm confident enough to, very, very politely shift the topic to some other thing which I am confident about, they will like that. You can
Mm.
see it from their expression. So I remember there was a situational question that I got from both. So this was actually a funny thing. At during my HEC interview and ESSEC interview, I got a common question, which was, why, if given, let's say, 2 million euros, how will you spend it? So yeah, so this was one question, and
Uralgi.
over yeah. So I was in the first time that I got that question, it was the HEC interview which occurred first, and it was very important to understand why they are asking you this question.
Of
They know
course,
that
yeah.
you can spend it. They know they want to see that how will you prioritize, uh, what will you do. So the first thing that I did was I asked questions. How can I spend it? Can I invest it?
Mhm.
What kind of returns do you want as an investment? So this is very important aspect of an interview, that you don't just sit and just answer. It should be interactive. You should know that they look out for future leaders. They you are joining that school to become either entrepreneur or a leader in management or business. So you have to ask questions. You have to make it interesting for them as well, otherwise they'll get bored. They'll be busy in their notepad or mobile. You have to make them interesting, make it interesting for them.
But if this was a question not in an interview, if you genuinely got that question, where would you spend that money?
I'll spend it anywhere, wherever I can. I'll probably book a ticket to Australia, watch the Boxing Day match. uh, I'll do all sort of things that I won't answer in my interview. So
I think
uh,
I would cover my tuition with it.
yeah, oh yeah,
And,
obviously
you
that's
know,
one thing that you can do. But
yeah,
yeah, so so you have to have that filter, at least some basic filter, that you don't splurge that money, but you have to
of
be
course.
very smart, street smart, while answering that.
Of course. And I think it's really important during interviews, like you should be yourself, but not to the point where you mess it up and you're like, oh God, I think I was just too much of myself and it's backfiring.
Yeah. Exactly. You have to be you should know when to be humble, when to be polite, and when to be respectful. And also one thing one tip that I got is be funny. Be so my all my friends say that you have that, you can make people laugh. So I was talking to one of the seniors, and they say that I while answering, uh I think I landed some joke or some pun, and they said that use this in your interview.
Mm,
Make the interview interesting for the interviewer. Don't
right.
just sit and answer blatantly, just saying some random answer that you prepared. Be spontaneous if you can, and throw in some jokes. And that actually worked for me during my ESSEC interview. I did, prepare a couple of puns, and I used that, and that actually helps, to lighten the mood, because ESSEC interview was becoming grilling as it was progressing. So
Right.
it was very important to ease the tension in the room, make it funny, make it light for everyone.
Yeah, because they do this like every other hour. Like at one point, they're just like, okay,
Exactly.
and you don't want it to be
Yeah.
boring. How good of a student you are, like they get it. You got the interview invite, right? But you have to stand
Yeah.
out. You should be able to converse.
Once you
But I'm
break that ice, they ask you a
yeah.
lot of questions, personal questions as well. So, me being a Jain, I had my complete name written in my window, my interview
Mhm.
window, and they were very inquisitive about how Jainism works. And
Oh,
yeah. So my 40-minute interview, I think 10 minutes went into explaining Jainism to all the panelists, how it is, what it is in India. So yeah, I think once you break the ice, once they know that you're a good candidate, you know how to speak well, you know what you're speaking about,
right.
then they'll throw you in some random situations. They'll see how do you respond. They'll see how well you can communicate your thoughts. That's it.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that the interviews went well because you definitely got an admit right after. And did you get any scholarships when you got the like letter, or you didn't?
I did actually. I got a 50% tuition scholarship from ESSEC. Uh, Unfortunately, I didn't get a scholarship from HEC. But again,
Mm.
like I was very happy, very happy when I got the scholarship from ESSEC because while I was checking with my friends and on the forum as well, on the decision tracker in GMAT Club, I couldn't see, a 50% scholarship. So even I was shocked to see such a huge 20,000 euros as a scholarship amount. But unfortunately, I had to opt for HEC as when I got to talking with all my seniors, my parents, everyone, I decided to go for HEC.
Well, it was definitely a good choice. Of course, the tuition waive off is really
Exactly.
a sweet deal.
Yeah.
But you have to look
Yes.
at your ROI and see like what suits you best. And if I'm not
Exactly.
mistaken, ESSEC is also in the same country, right? Or
Yeah,
it's
it's in Paris. It's a 30-minute drive from both like there's a 30-minute drive from both the institutes. Actually, one of my friends has got admitted in ESSEC.
oh, nice.
So and that I got that friend from GMAT Club. So
Oh,
yeah, we have plans to meet up.
oh, so you see, guys, you can make friends in GMAT Club. It's not just a studying platform. No, you know
Definitely,
what?
definitely.
I made a whole group actually back when I was studying. What I did was I don't like studying alone, so I decided to make study buddy group. And then in the end, we all ended up being such good friends that I still talk to them to this date. So really, the GMAT Club friends are friends for
Exactly.
life.
Yeah. So they, like-minded people, they get along very well. So everyone is in that preparation mode, getting that admit mode. So you can either share your stories, your success, or also your failures that, that you fail together. So it's okay. It's fine. The pain becomes less when once you
Not
share it with a
until
friend.
not until one gets a really good admin and a score, and the other shoot, that
That
is
gives a
even serious,
motivation. That gives a motivation.
or depression.
Oh,
Either or.
yeah. Yeah. Both. You can take it in either way.
Yeah, but okay, that's awesome. Now I think let's move on to the money aspect of things. So
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about the tuition and the living costs. Like, what was your thought process like? Because now you're moving to a whole new country. It's France. I think things are a little different there, especially with language, which I did mention before. So, what was your
Yes.
thought process like? Like, how did you start making those decisions financially?
Okay. Yeah. So first of all, the language barrier is obviously there. It's out there in the open that you have to learn French in order to get a job over there. Uh, my requirement is a bit different. As I told you that I am currently in my family business and I plan to return back to my family business and work over here in India. So my language requirements are not very much with respect to job, but in order to sustain over there,
Mhm.
communicate well over there, and to live and travel there. So obviously, in any case, you have to learn French. That's like step zero, not even step one. Once you're going there, my preparation is yet to start for French, but I will surely do. After that, my tuition is around 50,000 euros.
Mhm.
So like if you get scholarships for, I'm talking about HEC specifically, uh, uh, talking about the scholarships you get, I think what I've heard from my friends, it's around 15,000 maximum. Like you start getting 3,000, 5,000, up to 15,000. Again, you can check online for accurate results. This is what I
Mhm.
have heard, and it is split into two payment dates. One you have to pay in September, and the next one is in the next September. Apart from that, there are a lot of options for scholarship, which is outside the school. So
Mhm.
there is this Campus France body, which gives out scholarships to Indian students. One is the Eiffel Scholarship, one is the Charpak Scholarship. Eiffel Scholarship, you have to apply through the college. The college basically, once you apply for that scholarship to the college then moves your application to the Campus France body.
Okay.
So it is a scholarship where you can get your living expenses waived off completely. So
Oh, wow.
when you talk about living expenses, it is around 1,000 euros per month in France. And if you're lucky enough to get into the Eiffel Scholarship Program, you get around 1,200 euros per month to spend. So that is, that is a very good amount to live comfortably in France without
Mhm.
even worrying about the financials. And there are other benefits also. I think you can check out the website. Apart from that, there is this Charpak scholarship, which offers something similar to Eiffel. It gives you around 800 euros monthly allowance, which is again a great option for students. I have applied for both the scholarships, but the results are yet to be announced. I think it will be around in March or April. The results will be out. So fingers crossed for that again. Apart from that, yeah, I think living cost is done, tuition is done, and then travel and all. I think it depends person to person. So obviously, it is a big, a big expense for anyone who's planning to go from India. But again, you have to focus on the ROI as well. That the placements or the average student that earns over there after completing their MIM degree is sufficient enough to recover all that you've spent in the couple of years over there.
No, sure. I'm just okay. Well, the travel expense thing that you said, like there's also something I think you should consider. I think a lot of these business schools they have exchange programs where you can go to another city or country. So, is that something as well, like in your program? And like did you budget for that as well when you were thinking of the costs?
Exactly. So there are a couple of double degrees that HEC offers, and there's also a master's exchange program that I've read about. I am yet to talk to the body over there, the admission body or the academics body over there to get more details. But yeah, there are a lot of exchange programs that HEC does provide. Uh, they are talking about I have not really went down the financial aspect of that because it comes into the M2, which is the second year in the second half of the second year. So it's not in the near future right now. So yeah, but talking about financial, there's another thing that a lot of students I'm not sure know about. So there is this CAF reimbursement policy that the French government have. So it's CAF. So you can basically reimburse some of the rental spends that you do over there. So let's say if my rental expenditure is 800 euros, I can get around 150, 200 euros back as a reimbursement. So yeah, so there are little things that I'm figuring out daily. I'm trying to see, how much and in what ways I can save money. Uh, yeah, I think this is a continuous journey that will go on until I reach over there.
Okay, so of course, there are like these lot of different small things that I think you'll continue learning about, like how to save your money. But there must be internship opportunities that you can take up there, or I think schools allow certain work hours. Maybe I don't know how it's like in Europe or especially in France. But have you had
Yeah.
the chance to look into it, and what did you find out?
Yeah. So there are two options in any school out there. Uh, so one is the options or the opportunities that they get during your stay or your studies at the school,
Mm-hmm.
which unfortunately in the case of France, or in specifically in the case of HEC, so the school is situated in the outskirts, so you don't have much opportunities to work outside uh, the school. And also, in if even if you get an opportunity, you need to know how to speak French, which is a major requirement for any person hiring over there. So this is one aspect, and the other aspect is that they offer an optional gap year, which is between the first year and the second year. You
Mm-hmm.
can opt out. You can opt for that. You can work for 1 year. You can get some good work experience. A lot of seniors that I've spoken to have opted for that. You can get some of the work experience under your belt. So once you are done, you are done with your degree. Once you go for your placements, you have a good opportunity to land a good job, as you have some work experience of 1 year working in France. So that really helps in your works in your favor.
Awesome. And what is the I don't know how the work permits like are like in France. You must have done your research about that because I think that's a huge factor when when you're shifting abroad. How is it like once you're done with your MIM program? Like what are the next steps?
Yeah. So what I have read about this, because this is something which is not very clear right now, but
Mhm.
whatever I have read right now, whatever I could find, is that you apply for a APS, which is basically once you complete your master's degree, you can work, you get a work permit or a temporary residency over
Mhm.
there for 1 year. Where you can look for jobs, you can get a job, and once you land a job, then I think you are pretty much covered. So that 1 year is something that you have to apply for. Again, this is something that even I am trying to research more and more about. But for my case, as I told you, that I plan to come back to India, so not really worried about that right now. But again, you never know what happens. So I am trying to do my research for that.
That's true. You know, one thing I found out, like during my research, I think, and it was not for these countries, but in Germany, for example, oh, and this is something I found out like from people I know who work there. They said that once you get a job in these countries, what's nice is your job is so secure that it's not easy for them to fire you until unless there's like really
Hmm.
good reason to. Unlike I think
Yeah,
here, maybe in India, like it is a little like you can easily get laid off like for any small
exactly.
reason.
Yeah.
So that is like really, I don't know if that's the same in France. I mean, is it? Is it not? Maybe it is because I think the whole European culture might be the same. Uh, but if
Exactly.
it is,
Yeah. Even I like to believe that the European culture is pretty much homogeneous throughout. That I feel that this should be the case in France as well.
yeah,
But again, we'll know once we will be there.
I heard that in France they really care about lunch break.
Oh, this is something nice. This is something to be
Yeah,
happy about.
yeah, for sure. Like I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what I heard. So if it's the case, well, you're lucky. Like you can go to those cute cafes and enjoy your time, and then go back to work.
Yeah, that's the first thing that I have planned. That I'll probably take some hot chocolate, some coffee, some croissants, and probably start my day over there like that. But again, this is something that I dream of. Once I speak to students, student life is not that easy. Like you have to put in that that study hours to make it.
And not only that, I feel like especially for those I've seen my Indian friends when they go abroad, like I think the major thing is they miss home more than they thought they would. Because the
Yeah,
culture is completely different. You miss the food, you miss the fact that you get a lot of help here, unlike in Europe where everything you have to do on your own. So those are like small things that start hitting you once you're there.
Selvi, I'm trying to avoid that thought right now. That that I don't want to think about that I'll be living alone, I'll be doing my chores all alone. So you are trying to give me reality checks over here.
Well, that is what you have to think about that, at some
Yeah,
point. So I'm doing this now for you. But in the end,
yeah,
the sweet bit is that you're definitely in a place where you get to live your dream, right? You have been
yeah.
aiming for this MIM program for quite a while. You managed to do it, and now you're finally going. I think that bittersweet moment, tramples everything else.
Yes, yes,
um,
that's for sure.
all right. Well, I think I managed to cover everything about your whole MIM application process. I don't know if I missed anything as such, but if I did, guys, feel free to comment your questions down below, and Rishi will do his best to answer them ASAP. Rishi, any last minute advice that you have for MIM aspirants?
Yes, all I'll say is that have that belief in yourself. Uh, don't self-reject, and you will get into all your dream schools. Like stay positive throughout the journey. Rejections are a part of the journey. It's not the complete journey. Have that belief, and you'll definitely get into the schools that you want to. All the best, all the
Awesome.
very best.
Yes. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much, Rishi, for doing this with us, and good luck for your MIM journey. I hope that Paris will treat you well, and you're gonna be happy.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I'll try to, answer all the comments if there are. Uh, and all the best. And thank you so much, Selvi and GMAT Club for having me over here.
You're most welcome. All right. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.